Hey guys, Mr. Morin here. Just checking in with you to see if you decided to do any writing at home on your personal narrative. Now, I sent in an email to your parents some of our writing paper, and it was totally optional. If you decided, hey, while I'm at home for these few weeks, if I wanted to write a story, do I remember all the steps that we did at school of how to write a personal narrative or a true story about my life? If you remember, this was my story that I was writing about the day we got our dog Daisy. And I've come to the end of my story now. I've written my introduction, I wrote all my details inside, did a bunch of cool text features. I even added a page to the end, and I concluded it at the very end when we were taking her home. And now, obviously, when I'm done, I've just begun, I can go back, I can add to the pictures, I'm going to color my story, and then I can reread it and check to see if all my end marks are in the right spots, or, did I remember to put spaces between my words? Did I start my sentences with capitals? Did I use capitals in the right spot, in the right places, instead of just putting them randomly in words? But the next step to this is to really make it look like an official book, to make it look like a published book. So we have this the cover page that we can add to our stories. I also emailed a copy of this if your mom and dad want to print it out or if they're able to. On the cover of the story, just like with most books, you have to think of a title for the name of your story, and you're going to draw a big colorful picture in the middle to really grab readers' attention. And then your author name goes down here at the bottom. So for example, like some of our favorite books we've read, like Alligator Baby by Robert Munsch. You can see just the name of the story is just 2 words, Alligator Baby. There's a big picture on the front, even gives you a little hint about what the story might be about. And then the author's name, actually Robert Munsch wrote his up here. There's a picture of him too. And it also tells who is the illustrator. Other books, like one of my favorite springtime chapter books, Charlotte's Web. As you can see, Charlotte's Web is right up there at the top by E.B. White. And they even sometimes will give you another book that they read, author of Stuart Little. So if you knew Stuart Little, maybe you want to read Charlotte's Web because you like that book. It also gives you, again, the illustrator. But in your story, you're the author and the illustrator. So you just have to write your name once. So what you want to do is you want to pick a title for your story. So my story obviously was about my dog Daisy. Now I got to think, do I want to write The Day We First Got Daisy? That's kind of a big title. Or I love my dog Daisy so much. That is true, and that's what happens in my story. But I want to pick just a couple words and write them big and bold on the top that make it my title. So I think I'm just going to write my dog Daisy. And if you notice, you can see I'm writing a lot bigger than what I did in my story. Matter of fact, I think I made a mistake right here, because if you notice, most stories, the title, all the words in the title of the story are uppercase. So my dog and Daisy are all going to have capitals on it. And I'm going to write my name, because I'm the author, down here at the bottom. And I noticed already, again, I made a mistake on my M. I didn't make my M go all the way down. So I'm going to erase it and fix it, because I want it to look great, because this is my story and I'm the author and I want to share it with people. And in the middle, I'm going to draw a big picture of Daisy. I'm not going to draw my whole family, because I really want the focus to be on the dog. So I'm going to draw a big picture of my dog Daisy, and I'm going to do that at a later time. On the other side of the paper is what we call an About the Author page. This just gives you a little information about the author, a little personal information. Like, again, Charlotte's Web is by E.B. White. Sometimes the authors will put information about themselves on the inside of the book. Sometimes there's stuff on the back of the book, like they give you a little preview about what the book might be about. There might be a review about somebody that read it, that really enjoyed it. Or there might actually be information about the author. So like Robert Munsch on the back of his book, it gives you a little sneak peek about what this book is about, but then it also tells you Robert Munsch is a storyteller and best-selling author of many books for children. He lives in Guelph, I think you pronounce that, Ontario, Canada, and he doesn't even write down a story until he has told it 100 times or more. He's made up this story for Kristen, whose mom was having a baby. So that kind of goes along with this next part down here that we'll get to in a minute. But first, on the About the Author page, you want to write your name again. Nice and neat. Remember, this is for other people to read. So we're trying to make it look fancy. How old you are currently and what grade you're in. So you can just write 1B right here. Your school. So the school we go to is Forest Grove. And you can write elementary if you want, or you can just write Forest Grove. I'm just going to write Forest Grove today. Where I live, we live in Hudsonville. Hudsonville. Now you might live in Byron Center or Dorr or a different city where your address is, but I live in Hudsonville, so I'm putting Hudsonville there. Family member and pets. So there is, my family members are my wife. Her name is Yusin. And my daughter's Amaya. See how I'm putting commas because I have a whole group of people? Avery. And Daisy. So those are all the people in my family. I count Daisy as, well, actually it says family and pets, so Daisy's on there too. I could put Skippy and Mr. Chubbs and Gary, but they're kind of school pets, so I'm going to leave them off for this for now. Favorite things to do? Oh, I love to golf. Okay, I love school. I love going to school, and it's kind of hard right now since we can't go to school. I miss it a lot. I like bowling. And I like playing with Daisy. So I'm going to write playing, I'm running out of room here, with my dog. Now, another spot down here, favorite authors or books that you like to read. So on this line down here, I'm going to write some of my favorite authors. And you know my favorite three. Dr. Seuss, of course. Robert Munsch. And squeeze one more down here. Mo Willems. Okay, now that we're down at the bottom, it says this book is dedicated to. Some authors will do a dedication page in their book. Not all authors, and it's not something you have to do, but some authors write a book with somebody in mind. So remember when I was reading the back of the Robert Munsch book, it said he made up this story for Kristen, whose mom was having a baby. So he thought of somebody, and that's kind of how he wrote the story. Roald Dahl, he does that a lot, like James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If you look before the story starts, he has a dedication page like this one. It says, this book is for Olivia and Tessa. Maybe those are his kids. Maybe they're friends of his. I don't know. We don't know who they are, but they know when they read this book that it was specially written for them. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he has a dedication page hidden. This one too, it says for Theo. So you can think of somebody special in your life that you wrote this book and you want to dedicate it to. It can be anybody you want. It could be a friend. It could be a parent. It could be a teacher. It could be anybody you want. So I'm going to dedicate this book about Daisy to my family. So I'm gonna put Amaya and Avery because they were kind of the main reason why we wanted to get a dog. I mean, obviously I wanted a dog a lot. Mrs. Morin did not want a dog so much, but we changed her mind and she loves Daisy just as much as we do now. But I'm gonna write Amaya and Avery, I'm gonna dedicate this book. So when I'm done, it doesn't mean I'm giving the book to them, but it means that they were kind of in my mind when I was writing the story. So that's kind of it. When you have your picture done here and you color it in really nice and you did your About the Author page, you staple that on there, and then you have a finished copy, a book, a published book, that looks kind of like a professional book. So here is one, like I've showed you before in the past, This was one I wrote a couple years ago about the time I went to spring break in Florida. We went to Destin, Florida. So I made the cover. I made the state of Florida. I made it really big, and I put, you know, Destin kind of where it is in Florida, and that was the spot that we went. I didn't draw a picture of all the things we did because that's what you get to see when you read the story, okay? But the cover is nice and big and bold. I even wrote my name in cursive here to make it look fancy. And then same thing here too with the About the Author page with all my information on here. Okay, so if you're ready for this part of your story, you can go ahead and make a cover page and an About the Author page and add it to your story to make it look like a real professional author. All right, great job. Keep up the good work.